Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2016 Convocation ceremony, at which we recognize and celebrate the beginning of a new academic year and our common work as a community of learners. Now please join in singing our gathering song, Holy Wisdom, Lamp of Learning, and remain standing during our gathering prayer led by Dr. Anna Mae Mayer, Director of the Mercy Center for Spiritual Life. The words to the gathering song are printed in your program.
We ask everyone to join in our gathering prayer, which is on page 5. The assembly will respond with the print in bold. Let us pray. Blessed are you, loving and merciful God. Gather our community together as we begin this year. Bind us together in your spirit of respect, dignity, and service. Blessed are you, creator of all that is. In your image we are made. In your likeness you fashion and form us. Day by day pour out your wisdom to us, that we might know the beauty of all that you have given to us. Help us to be careful stewards of your creation. You are the one who gathers us, loving and merciful God. Be at our side throughout this year to guide us when we are lost, to strengthen us when we are weak, and to console us when we are sad. You are the one who gathers us, loving and merciful God. Be our source of compassion and mercy, that we will serve those who are in need and work to establish justice and peace in our community and the world. You are the one who gathers us, loving and merciful God. Form us into a family filled with your love and compassion, that we might be your holy people and a sign of hope to the world. Amen. You are the one who gathers us, loving and merciful God.
Thank you, Dr. Mayer. Please join in the singing of the national anthem.
Thank you.
Please be seated. Councilman Marco T. Camacho will now offer a welcome on behalf of the City of Newport.
Thank you. Students, faculty, families, distinguished guests, on behalf of Mayor Napolitano and the entire City Council and the citizens of Newport, I bring greetings. As we close on another summer season, we do so with great enthusiasm as it marks the beginning of a new academic year and a welcoming of a new freshman class. So to the freshman class, I say for the next 4 years, welcome home. And may God bless this great school, and may God bless this great city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Camacho. Dr. J. Timothy O'Reilly will now welcome the members of the class of 2020 and transfer students in the name of the Board of Trustees of the university. Dr. O'Reilly.
Thank you, Scott. Hello, class of 2020. All right, try that again. Hello, class of 2020. And transfers. I'm Tim O'Reilly, a member of the university's Board of Trustees. Janet Robinson, our board chairman, and a Salve graduate, is out of town on business, and she and Sister Jean asked me to welcome you today to Salve on behalf of the board. I'm sure you've heard many times over the past few weeks, you are beginning a new phase of your life, bridging the transition from adolescence to adulthood. I'm sure most of you have concerns about finding your way in this new phase of your lives. You are not alone, and you will not only survive, you will thrive. It is a wonderful adventure you are about to start. Salve has many resources available to help this transition. As I'm sure you've heard by now, the Office of Student Affairs at Miley Hall is the go-to place for students seeking assistance of all kinds. In particular, the freshman Class D, Donald St. Jean, who you will hear from shortly, is there exclusively for freshmen. So don't miss an opportunity to meet him, even if it's just to say hello. Another welcoming place for students is the Mercy Center for Spiritual Life in the lower level of the Mercy Chapel. Anna Mae Mayer, who led us in prayer, is the director there. You can friend their Facebook page to find out more about their activities and services. Better yet, try to attend one of their very popular ice cream social party, the first of which is next Wednesday, the 14th, in the evening. Meet other students and staff, hear about the many programs, activities, and services. You can also drop in the Mercy Center at any time, Sunday through Friday. They're closed Saturdays. To study, have a free snack, take a break. There's also Father Seiji, Salve's chaplain, available to students through the Mercy Chapel and the Center for those who may be seeking some discussion, guidance, or spiritual counseling, or partake in the sacrament of reconciliation. Lastly, don't be a stranger to your resident assistants. They know the school, the community, and the concerns of new students. They are there to help you. You would just adjust to this transition in your lives. They went through it themselves only a few years ago, so they know what you are feeling. In closing, I want to leave you with 3 thoughts. First, you have now joined the Salve Regina family of fellow students, faculty members, coaches, staff, and alumni. They are here to help you bridge these years from adolescence to adulthood. This is a small, warm, and very nurturing community. You will all hopefully take advantage of the opportunities to make connections, join student clubs and athletic teams and events, get to know faculty members, get engaged with your new family, the SRU community. Don't be a stranger here. Get involved. Secondly, you will hopefully make lifelong friends over the next 4 years. I can relate personally. Almost 60 years ago, I sat alone in my dorm room on move-in day, wondering what was going on, feeling lonely and homesick. Suddenly, a knock on the door, and a smiling guy walked in with his hand extended and said, "Hi, I'm Bo O'Neill across the hall. What's your name?" That began a friendship of over 50 years that only ended a few years ago with his death. I made other friends in college that I still connect with to this day. Those friendships were very formative in my life since that first day. Lastly, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal last week on the 31st of August that has particular importance as you begin this new adventure. Many of you are already thinking about getting jobs after graduating. If you aren't, your parents are. The article said that companies are finding it difficult to find applicants who can communicate clearly, take initiative, problem solve, and get along with co-workers. These so-called soft skills are in demand, and you can learn these in college, in addition to whatever major program of study you pursue. These skills, plus critical thinking and empathy, cannot be simulated by a computer. They are human skills. Focus on them while you are here as part of your academic program. So, welcome class of 2020 and transfers to a wonderful new adventure in your lives. Seize the opportunity to grow and flourish. On behalf of the university's Board of Trustees, we wish you all the best. You are embarking on a wonderful experience, and I'll leave you with one of my father's thoughts whenever one of his children might come to him with questions and concerns. After discussion, etc., he'd finish up by reminding us, remember, life is a mystery to be lived, not a problem to be solved. Enjoy the mystery of life, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. O'Reilly. It is my great pleasure now to introduce Associate Professor of Music and Dean of the Class of 2020, your Dean, Dr. Donald St. Jean, to welcome the incoming class. Dr. St. Jean directs University Chorus, Madrigal's Chorus, and oversees Salve Regina's student-run a cappella groups, Cliff Notes, and Pitches with Attitude. He also teaches courses in music theory, conducting, individual voice, language diction, and choral teaching methods. Dr. St. Jean has led the choruses of Salve Regina in concert tours of Greece, Italy, Ireland, and Canada. In March 2016, Dr. St. Jean directed a chorus of Salve Regina students in several performances in Vienna and Salzburg, Austria. He has performed extensively as a singer and conductor in the classical, pop, and jazz musical genres. In 2014, he earned his doctorate in music education at Boston University, culminating a period of 7 years of study that he undertook while continuing to teach at Salve Regina. Dr. St. Jean shares his love of music with his wife, Flo, who is also a musician and teacher. He also has an interest in the historical preservation of homes from colonial New England, which has been inspired by the knowledge and skills he has developed by restoring his own home. He and Flo live on an 18th century farm in Coventry, Rhode Island, with their 4 goats, 1 cat, and Greater Swiss Mountain Dog puppy Bailey, which is one of the cutest and largest puppies you'll ever see. Dr. St. Jean.
Thank you, Dr. Zeman. And it's going to take me just a minute to get set up here, so I will do that. If you don't know me by name, you will probably know me as Bailey's dad. And many of you met Bailey yesterday, so he was very pleased to meet you all. Welcome. So here you are, seated together for the first time as the class of 2020. By now, you have been told all there is to know about the university and have been properly oriented, reoriented, and exploriented. Despite these important experiences, I'm sure that some of you are feeling a bit disoriented from the sheer volume of information that you have had to process over the last few months. You've been given advice, historical facts, have been on campus tours that have pointed out the location of every service that the university has to offer, all of which is good information, but understandably, at this point you might be feeling a bit overwhelmed. So I know what you're thinking. Here stands our class dean prepared to give me more advice and add to my already overloaded brain, right? Not so. I actually come bearing gifts. So I'm going to, well, the first part of it is not really gifts, but it's a little bit of visual aid that I will assemble here. Pardon the paper towels sticking out of these, but let's see, there's one more of these. Nope, not that one. Somewhere. Sank down to the bottom of the bag. All right. Okay, you know what these are. And no offense to the person who gave me these, because I asked for very similar mugs. I said, do you have something that is of the same color, shape, and size? And he said, yeah, I think I can help you with that. So we went into the cupboards of the Mercy Center and looked for mugs that were of the same color, shape, and size. And so I said, well, 3 would be enough. Now, these are fine. There's nothing wrong. They have a function, they have a purpose. We drink from them. We might put something very good in them. What we put in them might be unique to us. However, they are all of the same shape and size. Have function, but lacking a certain individuality. Now, I'd like to bring these back. I think you know where I'm going with this anyway. And I'll show you a few mugs that, oh, we have a Starbucks Los Angeles. We have a kitty cup. We have another Starbucks, no, not a Starbucks, but a pretty cup. We have a Disney Rainforest Cafe cup. You've been there, right? Okay, I'll get all the handles going in the same direction in case any of you are a bit OCD about that. I will keep them going in the same direction and try to evenly space them across here. You got another rainforest, but it's a different color. And there's one of my favorites, actually. This one I'll describe to you because it's probably too far away for you to see. And that is, it's a music cup that was given to me, and it has staff lines and notes on it. It has a piano keyboard on the handle. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. That's really individual. And so the point here is that they all have function. And yet they are of different shapes, sizes, and colors. And as are we, different in our own backgrounds, in our own understandings of the world, our predispositions to whatever in life, to politics, to thought, to whatever it is that we happen to be mindful of. We are different, but yet we have a function, and that function comes of being that we are sharing this experience together as members of the Salve Regina community. Our commonality as members of the community of learners at Salve Regina University. We bring to this community the richness of our individual character, background, and thought processes. I also come with the gift of the wisdom of your fellow students, who not only have had personal success with the process of transitioning to college life, but also have helped others through what can be a time of challenge for many, this experience called freshman year. Of course, I'm referring to the group of resident assistants, RAs, who give so much of themselves to helping you succeed. I also want to tell you about an exciting opportunity that is available to you as freshmen, but I'll do that later, and I'll just make mention of it. But about the RAs, last week I attended one of the training sessions for the RAs and engaged them in a discussion focused on the following two questions. I asked, based on your experiences, both personally and as a mentor to other students, what should a student do in order to be successful in her or his first year at Salve Regina? And then the second question was, what do you recommend that a student not do in order to succeed in her or his first year at Salve Regina? After the discussion, I asked the RAs to write down their responses so that I could share them with you today. The list includes the following responses. To the question of what to do: try new things, get involved, step out of your comfort zone, take time for yourself, be open to new cultures, personalities, etc. Be yourself confidently, stay positive, take care of yourself mentally and physically, surround yourself with people who encourage and support you, let go of toxic friendships and relationships. Talk to your instructors, find your passion, be respectful to others and yourself, exercise regularly, balance fun with focus on coursework, priorities, stay in control of yourself, know that you are supported, be intentional about making friends. Okay, so the top three, the ones that were suggested, the most of that list, the three most, were, in order of least to most, be yourself confidently. Balance fun with focus on coursework, prioritize. And get involved. That one, when I was processing this data in Excel, that one went on for pages. Get involved. The second question, what not to do? Don't skip class often. These are RAs, okay. Don't judge people. Don't feel you have to finish what you start. If you don't enjoy your major, club, team, etc., switch out and find something you are truly passionate about. Don't stay in your room or your personal space. Don't go home often. Don't be discouraged about meeting friends. Don't socialize to the degree that you neglect yourself or your grades. We're getting a ball game as the same, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Don't spread yourself too thin. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to let go of a friendship that no longer helps you grow. We're getting louder. Don't only spend time with your roommate. Don't suppress your opinions. Don't be afraid to fail. Avoid telling yourself you don't deserve anything. Don't be afraid to say no. Don't be pressured into doing anything you don't want to do. And the top three, from least to most, well, actually, there weren't. There was a three-way tie for second place. So the twos are, don't spread yourself too thin, don't stay in your room or your personal space, and don't be afraid to ask for help. And the one that most often appeared, what do you think? Anyone? Call it out above the ball game. Don't go home often. That's from your RAs. Be engaged. In order to be engaged, you got to be present. You got to be here. And then there were, whoops, almost lost the mug. There were a few quotes that I thought were worthy of acknowledgement. College is all about growth and finding who you are as an adult. Don't go home before Columbus Day weekend. These will be the best 4 years of your life. Avoid being something or someone you are not. Remember that people are rooting for you and supporting you. Do it all with love. Be an innovator of your experience. What you start will reward you. Never stop making connections. So, advice from your RAs. And certainly this is good advice, and I might add, given to you from the voices of experience. Take heed of these suggestions and you will embark on a pathway to success at Salve Regina. Speaking of success, I would like to inform you briefly of an opportunity that is available to you as freshmen looking for a progressive leadership program that will be spread out over the course of 4 years at Salve Regina. Through this program, you will encounter a variety of experiences by attending lectures, workshops, discussions, performances, exhibits, etc. You will come together to reflect on these experiences, and you will apply what you have learned civically through community engagement and volunteerism. The program is called Navigator Leadership Development Program, a big name for what I hope will be a program of interest to you. Over the next few weeks, you will learn more about this opportunity through your FYT classes and from the Center for Student Development. In a nutshell, each year is dedicated to a particular ideal. Freshman year, the objective is discovering of oneself within the global community. Sophomore year is geared toward working with others collaboratively. Junior year dedicated to community engagement. And senior year focusing on affecting change on a global scale. Be on the lookout for more information about this. Finally, I'd like to try a little exercise that will get us communicating with one another. Do you remember at orientation how we came down from the bleachers and we asked each other a question? Do you remember what that question was? Yeah, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? So I'd like to try a little experiment with that today. Do you remember who you asked? It wasn't somebody you knew, right? I deliberately asked you to find somebody whom you did not know and to ask them a question and to start the communication process. I would like you to, again, find somebody around you whom you do not know and ask what class she or he is looking forward to attending the most. So go right ahead and do that. And then follow up with a comment of positive encouragement. Sounds awesome. I wish you well. Good luck. Faculty, you can do this too. So go right ahead and I'll ask you in a second. I know which one I am. I know which one I'm looking forward to. Don't forget the positive encouragement. Sounds awesome. All right, great. This is wonderful. A community of learners. Excellent. Thank you, and I'll leave you with a thought. You can't wait to get into those classes tomorrow, I'm sure. As with the mugs of different styles and colors that I display, we are connected through our purpose as members of the community of learners, each bringing to this community the richness of our individual character. Be willing to share this richness with others and be willing to learn from each other. I wish you much success and happiness in your freshman year at Salve. Thank you. of the way. Make room for the next speaker.
Don, I think you left some coffee stains on the script here. Thank you very much, Dr. St. Jean. I would like to now take the time to introduce our Convocation keynote speaker, Dr. Jim Ludes. Jim serves as Vice President for Public Research and Initiatives at Salve Regina, as well as Executive Director of the Pell Center for International Relations and Public Policy. Additionally, he holds appointment as Assistant Professor of History. Prior to his arrival at Salve in August 2011, Dr. Ludes was Executive Director of the American Security Project, ASP, a think tank in Washington, D.C., where he served for 5 years. ASP was founded in 2006 to educate the public on a broad range of national security issues and the value of a principled approach to security. From November 2008 to February 2009, Dr. Ludes was a member of President-elect Obama's transition team. During this time, he participated in the agency review team working inside the Department of Defense to identify critical issues that would need to be tackled by the new administration. In January, he took on the additional responsibility of running the confirmation team for DoD nominees selected for the roles of Deputy Secretary of Defense, Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, Comptroller, and General Counsel. From 2002 to 2006, Dr. Ludes was legislative assistant to Senator John Kerry for Defense and Foreign Policy. During that time, he also coordinated defense policy issues for Senator Kerry's 2004 presidential campaign, assisting in the development of policies on military end strength, force structure, and improved benefits for military families and veterans. Prior to his work in the Senate, Dr. Ludes was editor-in-chief of National Security Studies Quarterly, a defense and national security journal. He is editor of and contributor to Iraq Uncensored, and previously co-edited 2 books, Attacking Terrorism and 21st Century Proliferation. He earned his PhD in history from Georgetown University and received his bachelor's degree in history and modern languages from Providence College in 1993. Dr. Ludes.
Hello, thank you, Scott. Sister Jane, Dr. O'Reilly, members of the Board of Trustees, university colleagues, distinguished guests, friends, most importantly, members of the class of 2020. It's my great pleasure and honor to be with you today. At one point over the weekend, there was some concern that they were going to have to cancel Convocation because of the storm swirling out in the Atlantic. And as I sat down on Saturday to put my finishing touches on these remarks, I was faced with the same question that every student who's ever had an assignment due on the day that a snowstorm is forecast faces. Do I do my homework? So here's a pro tip. Do the things you need to do when you need to do them. It's funny, as my wife and I discussed what I would say today, we both had 2 identical reactions. First, neither one of us could remember who our Convocation speakers were when we were undergrads. So, if you forget about me, I won't hold it against you. But secondly, with the benefit of a lot of hindsight, we both wish that we had had someone explain to us what we're doing here in college, as adults, as citizens. Now, to do real justice to any one of those topics, we would have to be here for years. And I don't have that much time today, mercifully. And the truth is, I wouldn't be able to do it myself. It would take a team of folks from across the faculty. We'd all have our own areas of expertise, but we'd want to make sure we grappled with big questions in the humanities, those subjects that help us understand what it is to be human. We'd want to spend some time learning what the sciences can tell us about human existence and our universe. and the challenges facing humanity. We'd want to learn better to appreciate beauty and perhaps create some of our own. And we'd want to develop the skills and understanding necessary to begin our careers. That would take some team. We'd share with you insights from our scholarship and from our personal experiences. For example, Professor Dave Smith might tell you a story about his distinguished career in law enforcement. Professor Martha Rose might tell you about the joy of connecting with a student with special needs. Professor Eileen Gray may tell you about a patient who needed both medical and spiritual care. And Professor Bill Lehman might give you a glimpse of what it's like to teach students who are literally headed off to war. No speaker is going to be able to do all of that in the course of a convocation speech. But in the course of your education here at Salve Regina University, that's exactly what you should do. Every professor sitting in these first couple of rows has tremendous gifts to share with you. And over the next 4 years, you'd be smart to take advantage of that. They're going to help you answer the big questions my wife and I struggled with 25 years ago. What are we doing here in college, as adults, as citizens? Now, to be clear, we're not just going to hand you the answer. No, that would be way too easy. That's not the way this works. And you're going to have to work and struggle. And there may be some failures along the way, and that's okay. Life is very seldom a straight line, and we, faculty, staff, and administrators, consider ourselves blessed to walk this winding road with you. When Sister Jane asked me to give this convocation address, she encouraged me to talk about what's happening in the world, but to not make it depressing. That's easier said than done, sister. And it would be easy in a talk like this to run through a litany of the world's horrors. 400,000 people dead in the Syrian civil war, generations of progress towards political integration in Europe cast aside under pressure from extremists and migrants fleeing extremism, the reemergence of military competition in Eastern Europe between the United States and Russia, an assertive nationalist China literally building islands on the sea floor to create facts on the ground in a strategically significant patch of sea, and a North Korea desperately trying to build nuclear weapons that it can put on top of missiles that would reach the United States. Don't even get me started about climate change. 15 of the 16 hottest years on record globally have all occurred since 2001. It's 2016. You can do the math. And 2016 is on pace to be the warmest still. But I don't want to leave you simply with a long list of reasons to be depressed. Instead, I want you to help society meet another looming challenge. The truth is, we're on the cusp of a technological revolution that is going to change our economy, what people do with their lives, and eventually, our system of government. Let me lay this out. In his classic study, The Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith argued that a nation's wealth is not established by the amount of gold or silver that it possesses, but rather by the productivity of its economy. In other words, if a country has little gold or silver, but whose factories and workers are highly productive, that country could be said to have great wealth. The source of wealth, according to Smith, was not some natural resource, but a human resource, and the product of human labor. Smith himself was an early proponent of freedom, free labor meaning no slavery, free markets meaning no government intervention in the economy. Freedom, it was argued, was the best way for markets to mature, for people to achieve their full potential, and for civilization to advance. And for several centuries, governments and societies have been driven forward by the idea that we need to create an educated workforce to enable our economies. In the aftermath of the Napoleonic Wars, revolutionaries and reformers from the Middle East to the Americas talked about reforming society based on education and industrialization. By the start of the 20th century, those ideas had taken root in Asia as well. Today, these views are largely global, and they serve to justify the link between America's schools and efforts to keep the American economy globally competitive. The centrality of labor in Smith's view of economics, of people who work for a living, who earn a decent wage, and spend money on goods to further drive the economy, has had tremendous political implications. Think of the shopkeepers and farmers of Massachusetts who resented the taxes of the British monarch, or the bourgeoisie in Paris in 1789 who believed that the people should be able to decide on what the government should spend its money. In fact, much of the global history over the 240 years since the American Declaration of Independence has been a history of the relationship between labor and governments. It's not surprising that so many political parties around the world have included terms like workers and labor in their names. Until the middle of the 20th century, autocrats and monarchies typically feared the masses, the working people, what Marx called the proletariat. For Pete's sake, yesterday was Labor Day. That wasn't just some nice gift to have an extra long weekend at the end of the summer. But according to a growing body of evidence, the reality of labor is about to change in fundamental ways. Scholars at Oxford University estimate that 47% of U.S. jobs may cease to exist in the next couple of decades because of advances in computers and automation. Take as one example the disruptive potential of self-driving vehicles. We know Tesla and Google and maybe Apple are all developing them. And when they arrive, they will put 1.6 million American long-haul truckers out of business, along with 800,000 delivery truck drivers, 180,000 taxi drivers, 160,000 Uber drivers, 500,000 school bus drivers, and 160,000 transit bus drivers. If, as early data suggests, autonomous vehicles are safer than our current human-driven cars and trucks, then things will get tight for the 445,000 people who work in auto repair shops. Anyone at all who does anything with cars, whether you're a parking lot attendant or a meter maid, is going to feel the ground shift beneath you as motor vehicles transition to a high-tech future. So all told, in this one example, in the driving economy alone, some estimates suggest that we're looking at the disruption of 4 million American jobs. Now, this revolution in automation and artificial intelligence won't be an American revolution. It will be a global revolution. And the society that best figures out how to reconcile the new technology and the new relationship with labor will emerge as the dominant political and economic power of the 21st century. Now, of course, that's not what we're talking about in the election of 2016. Instead, we're mired in a ridiculous debate about email servers and a stupid wall. The magnitude of the folly of these debates and the coverage they have received is, and I'm just going to put it out there for you, huge. I began these remarks talking about that storm out in the Atlantic. We didn't know for certain where it was headed, but we knew it was there. The storm in our economy is coming, and so we had better do our homework so that we're ready, and we'd better get involved. Your job, class of 2020, right now at the start of your university career, is to frankly give a damn, to learn, to take every opportunity to educate yourself about the world around you. Yes, go to class, work hard, do well, but learn too from your classmates and your professors and the people who work in the dining hall, from your coaches, from people who you meet at internships, or that person you always see at the grocery store. They all have a truth to tell. Read. Do not believe that truth can be captured in a Snapchat or 140 characters on Twitter. But above all, and I mean this sincerely, you need to make your voices heard. You need to demand political leaders focus on real issues, on difficult issues, on issues that will determine whether we are competitive in the global economy, secure, and free. Now, when I worked in Washington, I came to believe that politics is a noble profession, and politicians are necessary for our society to function. I know today those are not necessarily particularly popular sentiments, but politics, for all the potential for corruption and undue influence, is far superior to the alternative. That's autocracy. Might makes right. The The strong rules the weak. Dictatorship. Politics is essential to freedom. It's how societies balance the views of multiple groups. It's how we resolve difficult issues without resorting to violence and war. Decades ago, the historian Michael Holt traced the origins of the American Civil War to the Compromise of 1850, a political deal that was supposed to take the heated issue of slavery out of the American political process so that American politics wouldn't be dominated by it anymore. And in some respects, it worked, except for the fact that the compromise didn't resolve the controversy over slavery itself. It didn't end the violence and abuse inherent in servitude. And so, left with no political means to resolve the dispute, the United States entered into a civil war that took 625,000 American lives. It's approximately 2% of the population at the time. To put that in contrast, today that would be about 6 million dead, given our current population. It's an exceptionally high price to pay for getting rid of politics around a difficult issue. But politics requires you to be involved. It's actually an obligation of citizens in a republic such as ours. If you have strong views on an issue, speak out. If you don't like what your elected officials are doing, hold them accountable. You can write letters to the newspaper. You can organize protests, letter writing campaigns, social media actions. You can even vote them out of office. And if you don't like the candidates you have to choose, then you need to run for office. Listen to me clearly. If you believe that you have a contribution to make, if you believe that your views are not represented, if you can see injustice that no one else sees, then your country needs you to speak up. It needs you to run. If no one speaks for you, then I guarantee you, the country needs you to speak for others. The most important actor in the American Republic is the citizen, armed with a vote, educated, informed, and involved. To that end, we've arranged today for a voter registration table set up at what was supposed to be the barbecue, but it'll be in Miley this afternoon. If you need to register to vote in your home state, there will be people there to help you do just that. If you need information on getting an absentee ballot, you can get that information there as well. And if you don't do it tonight, the reference library staff will be available to help you with these issues between now and Election Day. But don't wait, because every state has their own deadlines, and some of them come pretty quickly. The truth in life is that there is always a storm swirling just off the coast. We might be blissfully or willfully unaware of the gathering clouds, or we might see them building. And when the storm comes, we will all decide if we're in it for ourselves or if we want to be part of something bigger. I urge you to believe in our collective power to change the world for the better, if we are wise and if we make our voices heard. See in the coming economy not just threat, but opportunity to lift millions out of poverty. See in the faces of refugees not menace, but hope. Believe in the power of education and empathy to guide the way we approach public issues, and find in each of our hearts a wellspring of mercy that above all empowers. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2020.
Thank you, Jim. Ms. Chiquita Baylor, Director of Student Activities and Advisor for the SGA, will now induct the officers of this year's student government. Ms. Baylor.
How are you all doing out there? Hot? Yeah. We'll speed this up for you. I would like to invite the officers of the Student Government Association Executive Board to come forward now as I call you by office and name. Andy Cirioli III, President. Lauren Healy, Vice President. Tressie Fretchel, Secretary. Billy Martin, Treasurer. Katie Gillespie, Public Relations Coordinator. Ben Treschner, Chief Justice. By seeking nomination to office, each of you has indicated a willingness to serve in the student government at Salve Regina University during the 2016-2017 academic year. By election, your peers have indicated their acceptance of your office, your offer to serve, and to have expressed confidence in your ability to represent them. I ask each of you now to publicly affirm your intent to serve as student government representatives by responding, "I do," to the following three statements. Do you pledge to use your office as an opportunity to hear the voices of all students and to speak on behalf of all the constituencies you represent? Do you pledge to use the educational opportunities afforded to you at this university in a pursuit of truth that leads to justice in your lives, the lives of your fellow students, this learning community, and to whatever extent possible, the world around you? Do you now pledge yourself to leadership as service in the example of the one who came not to be served, but to serve, and today to accept the responsibilities of leadership which your elected office entails? We ask the following blessing on our executive board as they exercise their duties in the upcoming year. Holy wisdom and spirit of truth be with our students who have been called to the ministry of leadership. Strengthen them to do what is needed to serve our community and to further the regime of justice and mercy in our world. Give them the words that challenge us to action. Give them vision and the perception to understand the possibilities before them. Give their hearts the compassion to respond to the needs of their fellow students. Protect them from the weariness and discouragement. Bless them with sure knowledge of their presence, now and always. Amen. I now invite the assembly gathered here today to show their support to the student representatives with a round of applause. I would now like to present Andy Cerioli, President of the Student Government Association, with his gavel and block set, a symbol of his office, and to offer him the opportunity to address the assembly on the occasion of this convocation. You're welcome, Andy.
Welcome everyone, and welcome class of 2020 to Salve Regina University. It is my honor to stand here before you all, not only as the president of the student government, but as a friend. Today, you and I live in this charming city of Newport, on a campus whose beauty can be seen through the Gilded Age architecture, the rich history, the scenic coastline, and the cliff walk. These images complement our wonderful community, where mercy is at its core. Mercy. Mercy is a word that may not mean much to you. And I know that because when I was in your seats 3 years ago, it didn't mean much to me. No offense. It just wasn't as important in my life as it is today. Because today, mercy has become such an incredible part of my experience. Mercy can be commonly described in 2 words, love and compassion. But I believe that it goes far past these 2 words. Mercy is taking action. And here in the Salve community, mercy is living harmonious, it is being just to all, and that in its whole is being a student at Salve. Mercy is inviting a peer to dinner because it is hard to live away from home. It is seen in the student who picks up a plastic bottle on the Wakehurst lawn and throws it in the recycling bin. It can be seen in the person who stands up for someone else who is being ridiculed. For me, I have found mercy through servant leadership. And this is an attitude where being a leader is being prepared to serve, not to be served. Now, over the past years, I have applied this way of life to my community service, my leadership roles, and servant leadership, I have discovered, enhances the individual experience as it ultimately creates a more just and merciful world. And yes, although mercy does mean love and compassion, it really extends past those two words. It is what makes Salve so different. In 2020, you and thousands of other college students around the United States will be graduating. There will be doctors, nurses, there will be politicians and teachers, scientists, businessmen and women, law enforcement officers, artists, and the list goes on. But a Salve student is different. Here, your academic experience is drawn and shaped from our mission of mercy, justice, and harmony. As you continue through your journey at Salve, your experience with mercy will be unique. Each of you will take on different leadership roles. You may be an RA, a captain of your athletic team. You may be a member of the student government or on another club's executive board. But whatever it is that it may be, that will make you more powerful with mercy at the heart. It is something that can only be defined at the individual level. It is something that is defined within you and personally. And now today, I challenge you all to discover mercy for yourself, as I did through servant leadership. Then use it and apply it to the world. This, above all else, is what I believe is expected of you here at Salve Regina University. In another 4 years, you will be in my place. And at this moment, you would have lived the entire Salve experience. And I believe at this point, you will have understood your legacy and how it has prepared you to show others mercy. I'm excited to meet each and every one of you as you continue to live and grow with mercy at one of the finest institutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. We now observe the venerable tradition of our first-year students' formal matriculation into the university. Ms. Louise Monast, University Registrar, will conduct the matriculation ceremony. Louise.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to address the members of the class of 2020, the incoming freshmen who arrived here at Salve Regina University this week. When you enroll in a college or a university, we speak of you as having matriculated. That word matriculated is a fancy Latin word for a very simple act. It means literally to write your name in a list. But that simple act is of enormous importance and marks a turning point in your life. As you know, the university is not so much a place as a group of people, faculty, staff, students. When you matriculate, when you register, when you sign your name to that list, you are joining a company of scholars that comprises the university. Although today this is all done electronically, here at Salve Regina we have preserved the tradition by asking you to sign your name in a page of our matriculation book during the new student orientation. That book, bearing the names of all the members of the class of 2020, will be entered into the university archives. It will now be blessed by Father Saji Joseph, chaplain of the Mercy Center for Spiritual Life, and then be presented to Sister Jane Gerety, the president of Salve Regina University. I invite the members of the class of 2020 to bring forward the matriculation book. I also ask that the freshmen, the members of the class of 2020, to please stand during the blessing and the presentation.
O God, through the power of your Spirit and under the protection of Mary, Our Lady of Mercy, we place the members of the class of 2020 in your hands. Engulf them in your love. Protect them from harm. Nourish them with your life and fill them with your joy. Bless the matriculation book as a symbol of their entry into university life. Help them to persevere in their studies and to take delight in new discoveries as they follow countless others who have come here before them. May they forge lasting friendships and create their own path within this community of learners.
I ask the freshmen to remain standing for the reading of the mission statement and for the mission pledge, which will be conducted by your Dean of Students, Mr. Malcolm Smith.
The Salve Regina University mission statement reads as follows. As an academic community that welcomes people of all beliefs, Salve Regina University, a Catholic institution founded by the Sisters of Mercy, seeks wisdom and promotes universal justice. The university, through teaching and research, prepares men and women for responsible lives by imparting and expanding knowledge, developing skills, and cultivating enduring values. Through liberal arts and professional programs, students develop the abilities for thinking clearly and creatively, enhance their capacity for sound judgment, and prepare for the challenge of learning throughout their lives. In keeping with the tradition of the Sisters of Mercy and recognizing that all people are stewards of God's creation, the university encourages students to work for a world that is harmonious, just, and merciful. I would now ask that you recite with me the student mission effectiveness statement printed on the inside covers of your convocation programs. I'll give you a minute. And together, as a student at Salve Regina University, I have chosen to join a community of learners who strive to work for Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Smith. Will the members of the class of 2020 please sit down? Sister Jane Gerety, president of Salve Regina University, will now offer her remarks to the academic community and officially open the academic year. She will then lead us in the prayer for guidance printed in your program. Sister Jane.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zeman. You know, you've heard wonderful messages from people who care a lot about you, from Dr. O'Reilly, from Councilman Camachi, from Dr. St. Jean, from Andy Ciriolo, and from Dr. Ludes. So I asked myself, what more can I say? And I promise you, I will be brief. But I thought, what can I say as you begin your life here at Salve Regina? You know, the first thing I have to say to all of you, and I can't say it strongly enough, you belong here. You, each one of you, you belong here. And I'll tell you how I know this. First, I helped set the entrance requirements for Salve Regina. The GPAs, the SATs, the ACT, all of those quantitative measures that say you can do it. While important, those measures are not what convinces me, however, that every one of you belongs here. I was convinced that each of you belongs here when I read the notes at the bottom of your acceptance letters. Do you remember those? You got that letter, you were happy about it, and there was a little note from Dean Emerson at the bottom of the letter that made a comment about your essay, that dreaded step in that college application process. As I read those notes, I got a clear sense of what members of the class of 2020 and the transfers bring to life at Salve Regina, and what each of you brings as you start college life. First of all, those notes made it clear to me that you have many talents and that you have passion for developing those talents. I can't wait to see you on the stage, in the concert hall, in the gym, on the fields. You are dancers, artists, storytellers, football players, baseball players, lots of hockey players, actors and actresses. And it seems that your talents, if I can glean this from the notes that were written, taught you more than skills. There's a note to Abby, if she's here, that says, theater is one of the few arts in which we can live another person's lives, and the qualities of those we portray always add to our own character. It's not just about acting, just like it's not just about playing basketball or football or singing or playing an instrument. So you got talent, that we know about you, and with those talents, you belong here. Second, the notes on your acceptance showed me that you have overcome a great deal, many of you. And in this way, you've got resilience. As young people, you've encountered illness, death, disability, and disappointment. One of you was born deaf. One of you met the challenge of scoliosis. One of you figured out how to learn and use the creativity of dyslexia. One of you got to know the world of Dana-Farber quite well. Thank goodness you're not in that world anymore. One of you stuttered. One of you lost a father. But as the note to Annabelle said, your resilience, intelligence, and values will serve you well as a Salve student. A third theme that ran through the notes was gratitude for those who have been role models, those who have helped you along the way. I wish I could meet all the grandmothers, mothers, fathers, friends, coaches, teammates you talked about in your essays. I bet, however, that when I meet you, I'll see something of those people in you, all the good things. I bet the note to Jay could apply to many in the class of 2020. It says, It sounds like you have been blessed with two very strong, generous, loving, and hardworking parents. What's even better is your knowledge of the sacrifices they have made and your grateful attitude toward them. That note could be written to a number of you, I know. Maybe you've learned from all these, maybe what you've learned from all these mentors inspired you to care for others as you have been cared for. There's a lot of caring that runs through the notes on your acceptance letters. Caring for family members, for friends, for the friendless, for the homeless, for the sick and the homesick. And you care not just for people, but for the earth and the ocean. You've shown yourselves, you've heard a lot about mercy today, but you've shown yourselves to be people of mercy before you ever came to this Mercy University. The note to Joseph touched me especially. The note to him said, your experience and relationship with your brother is going to be such an asset to a college campus. Your friends and teammates will benefit greatly from your open mind, compassion, and acceptance. So the note showed me talent, resilience, gratitude, and caring. They also revealed you all as a class of true individuals, people who had figured out who they are and claimed their unique personal identities proudly. You've learned to be independent, one of you of a twin sister, to stand up for something you believe, even when it's a stand against someone you love. You've taken risks and moved out of your comfort zones. You've learned to embrace, in the words of one of you, I love this, your musical, nerdy athleticism. We welcome you. You belong here. So given all the qualities you bring to Salve Regina, talent, resilience, gratitude, caring, pride in your unique identity, all of which I hope you'll develop further, what are the new things that I hope your university education will instill in you? Mostly, I hope that you, class of 2020 and transfers, have a spirit of openness, that you'll live in a healthy state of restlessness, that you'll be willing to have your minds and hearts changed and expanded. I hope you'll be brave enough to be at times confused and uncomfortable. That comes with this territory, to be thrown off balance. That's what the university is for. In the end, I want you to be courageous in resisting the forces that would keep the world as it is. As Dr. Ludes said, the first thing to do is vote. So that's the big plan. That's the work of a lifetime. What do I want for you right now? You, all of you? I want you to make it through tomorrow. The first day of classes. I want you to believe that everyone's a little or a lot scared. And I want you to believe that your professors and the staff are there for you no matter what. And I want you to believe with all your heart that you belong here. That's what we believe. Welcome and thank you. So now let's say together the prayer for guidance, which is page 8 of your program. I'll begin. Loving God, you have promised to be with us as we journey. Stir up in us the flame of love, which is your gift. O Lord, we ask your blessing upon this new year. Give us wisdom to see as you see. Give us understanding to hear as you hear. Give us courage and strength to walk the way of justice and integrity. O Lord, we ask your blessing upon this new year. Kindle in us wonder and awe that we may have grateful spirits. You who dwell within us, praying unceasingly, fill us with love and devotion. O Lord, we ask your blessings upon this new year. Holy wisdom, guide us in the choices we must make. Give us discerning hearts that we may choose what is good in accordance with your desire. O Lord, we ask your blessings upon this new year. Loving God of mercy, finish in us the work you have begun. Amen. O Lord, we ask your blessing upon this new year.
Thank you, Sister Jane. This concludes our convocation ceremony. Please all stand and join in singing the university hymn, Hail, Holy Queen, the words to which are also in the program. Afterwards, we ask the audience to please remain in place until the procession has left the tent. Thank you.